Okay, so listen, with me today is director, co-writer Hisonnis Johnson and actress, co-writer Hedy Wong, and we are chopping it up about Takeout Girl, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you for creating this. And I watched it several times, and I swear each time I watched it, I just found like new things to be like, oh my God, I didn't catch that the first time. And so I love that experience when it comes to filmmaking. So Hedy, this project started with you because it's based on true events from your personal life. Can you share what the film is about and its correlation to your personal life?
Yeah, so the film is about a young college dropout who was helping at her mom's struggling restaurant. She helps with food deliveries, and one day she decides to deliver for a local drug lord to make more money. My family, I'm born in the Bay Area. My family ran Chinese restaurants for most of my life. I've been in LA for 10 years now on my own. And so I just kind of, for the storyline, I kind of combined the realities of the Bay, my family there, with my realities in LA, and I kind of meshed them together. And then when I met Hisonni, we started to rewrite my original draft, and he pretty much amplified everything I wanted to do for the movie.
And Hisonni, what did you focus on from your upbringing to tell this story?
My love for my mom. I think this film is just a love letter to mothers. And what wouldn't you do for your mom, you know, if you had the opportunity to? What I brought directly from my real life is just seeing my mother struggle and suffer to provide for me and my siblings. But that feeling of helplessness, because you're young. I think where Tara is at age 20 is where I was at like age 11, 12, even 13 years old, where I just wished I could lift that load for my mom, but couldn't. And I think we take it to another level by actually giving our protagonist the opportunity to do so, right, even though it may not be morally or ethically the right thing to do.
Yeah, I thought Tara's relationship with her mom, it was so relatable on so many levels, and it was so special. And it was the few times that we got to see Tara smile. Other than that, you know, she had this stoic face. You know, and I thought Tara was dope. The character itself was dope. It was important to see a woman play this very masculine role and present it in a very real way. And so, you know, when it comes to vulnerability, Tara was anti-vulnerability. So my question for you, Hedy, is what was that process like for you to kind of pull vulnerability out to be Tara?
Yeah, just, you know, like, well, I think Tupac always said, like, you know, he's very tough because he's actually really sensitive, right, you know? And I've grown up with tough men and sometimes even scary men, you know, in the Bay. And then when I moved to LA, I worked in predominantly male environments. And so, you know, it's kind of like in those environments, your poker face is what's going to keep you, you know, okay. And so that's just something I kind of know to do. But furthermore, though, these men that seem very tough, the more you talk to them, though, the more you see them opening up, you know?
Yeah.
And you start to see different shades. And it was really important, I think, in Hisonni, under Hisonni's guidance and direction, we were able to bring out all those colors in Tara, because no one person is just two notes. You know, she's not just supposed to be tough and rough all the time. Yeah. You know, even thugs cry, right? So, and it was, you know, and I told myself, like, Hedy, you know, no matter if you look ugly on screen, but you got to lead with the truth, you know, like you got to lead with the truth. And so I just brought the truth from what I know in my life onto the screen. And I figured, you know, one of my best friends, Ed Ivory, he always said that, you know, what comes from the heart will reach the heart, you know, and it seems like it's been doing that. So I'm really grateful.
Well said. Well said. And then also the use of invisibility that was used to Tara's advantage. I thought it was pretty clever to turn something negative to a positive in the context of the film. And so this question is for the both of you, and we'll start with Hisonni. What brought on the decision to use visibility as Tara's armor?
I'm a little bit of a geek, and I like superhero stuff. I have a ton of comic books back there, and like I think I've always seen Hedy's ability to interact with like giant men, because she's kind of a small person and still own the room, is like something that's super admirable. And with Takeout Girl, I always envisioned it as like Tara's one character, but Takeout Girl is another, kind of like Batman and Bruce Wayne. The hat is her Batman cowl. It gives her strength to kind of like shut out all the things she's afraid of and just push forward. And also it's all about just stereotype busting. Anything that feels like it's a negative stereotype, I actively find ways to either make it a positive or to get the audience to reevaluate that stereotype. With Tara, it was from the ground up. It was a lot of female-driven films. The lead actress or protagonist, she just finds herself in these situations where great things happen, or she has an opportunity. But with Tara, in a film called Takeout Girl, she actually travels through the world making things happen each step of the way. Everything, even down to the final act of the film, is a choice she made. And that was a conscious choice on our part. So again, just kind of embracing the aspects of life that most people put a negative stigma on, like code switching, for example.
Yeah.
All Black people know how code switching is a superpower, and it can actually save your life. I've spent many times going from my private school in the suburbs back to my 53206 zip code, which is the area where more Black men are incarcerated per capita than any other place in the world. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, most segregated city in America, where I had to immediately change the way I walked, talked, and acted for my survival. And then I'd have to do it again when I went to work, and I'd have to do it again when I applied for, college applications. Tara's just a master at that. She shows it's a true superpower. So leaning into things like that and turning it into a positive is definitely the direction we wanted to go.
And, it's interesting that you bring up the word superhero, because that's what came to my mind with the cap and the invisibility and just the freedom and access that it gave her. So many relatable layers there. The film story is pretty unique, and that's largely due to, in my humble opinion, a well-written plot, but also on-screen representation. Like, it was the representation for me. Why was it important to have such a diverse and inclusive cast in front and behind the camera?
Oh, me? Well, one thing I want to put out is that this diversity we have in front of the camera and behind the camera is not a gimmick. It's not a gimmick because, in Hollywood, they would try to, put, for the sake of diversity, for us, it really came from an authentic place. I grew up in a section of LA where I see a lot of Black and brown, I live in the Pico Union area. So naturally, these are the people in my life and stuff. And diversity behind the camera was really important because Hisonni, he just champions, the underrepresented. And part of that is females and teaching, just being such a great coach and bringing Melissa Del Rosario on, and she's another Asian female executive producer on our team. And all the richness, it's kind of like the Avengers coming together, defeating Thanos. I'm saying? You got people from the Wakanda and then Guardians of the Galaxy and then Doctor Strange people just all coming together. But it's authentic, it's authentic. And that's what makes Takeout Girl a true definition of a passion project. We didn't have too much money, Ellen, but we crossed that line. And it's really because off the strength of these people's backs and stuff, everybody pushed through for us.
I agree with her. I agree with her. The diversity is something we, to be honest, behind the camera, I didn't set out to do that. That was just the people who gravitated to the project just happened to be white, brown, Asian and black. And to be honest, I'm glad it happened that way. My mother used to always say that there's nothing new under the sun. So there's, if you include storytelling in that, every story's been told, but what makes it feel fresh is a person from each tribe adding their perspective to it, and that's the beautiful stew that Takeout Girl is just the actors, the cast, the crew, everybody felt free to kind of, whoa, try this, or what do you think about this? And it was there from pre-production all the way through post-production, just having these opinions and these thoughts and this flavor. And I'm super proud of that aspect of the film.
As you should be. The authenticity came across loud and clear for me. I'm a firm believer that representation inspires creativity, thought, dreams, possibilities, and the more of our reflections we see, the better. So I can't thank you enough for that. One of the things I enjoyed about this film was I got some drama, I got suspense, I got to laugh, and shout out to you, Hedy, for your dry sense of humor. As Tara, and also your facial expressions told like its own story. And so, as I watched several times, there were moments where I was like, oh, okay, I didn't catch that the first time, but that's even funnier now. And so, Hisonni, when it comes to filmmaking, is your immediate go-to to have various stylistic elements? And is that your comfort zone as a filmmaker?
I'm still figuring out what my comfort zone is as a filmmaker, to be completely honest. But I do like playing in a world where it's not just one thing. No body is just one thing. No genre is just one thing. I mean, you could call this film a crime film. You can call it a thriller. You could call it a family film. And all of those would be accurate descriptions of the film. But I love that the character of Tara gets to be funny and her brother gets to be funny, because the truth is, I mean, that's my reality. I grew up in a home with 4 sisters, myself and my mom, and she had a hard time making ends meet for us, but we did laugh. We did laugh. We laughed a lot. We had a good time, and life had its ups and downs, and I love seeing that in this film, So I don't know. I think my comfort zone is playing as close to reality as possible and making people as multidimensional as possible.
Gotcha. And one of my favorite scenes was the 360 pan, and I don't even know if that's the right terminology, but the 360 pan of Tara and Saren, once he finds out what Tara has been up to. I felt like I was watching a play, but then I also felt like I was right there. What was the driving force to set up that scene that way, Hisonni?
Every horrible conversation I've ever had was the result of me saying things before I had enough time to think about them. I didn't have a chance to assess how angry I was and take the bite off of it. It was just, and then by the time I said the next thing, I was making the same mistake because my mouth was 5 seconds ahead of my brain. So how do you incorporate that in a visual form? Well, your world is spinning. Your world is spinning out of control. The words are happening before you even get a chance to see who's talking. And the escalation of these two people who claim to love each other, the escalation in their aggressive tone toward one another just keeps rising and rising and rising until there's nothing left but regret. I've been in that situation more times than I'd like to admit. And to be honest, maybe I'm sick, but I love putting other people in that situation as much as possible because, what use is it? Once you've kind of come to grips with who you are and the mistakes you've made, and you've made the adjustments, the only other use for it is to use it to teach other people, to make it, cautionary tale. That scene is so important to me because if it plays correctly, it might make people slow down when talking to their loved ones.
Wow. That's pretty dope. Thank you for that. Hedy, can you talk a bit about the synergy between you and your amazing cast? There were so many moments that I just felt like, wow, especially the connection between you and Lalo in the very beginning, to your point of allowing, tough men to open up by being who you are. That came across beautifully. So can you talk a bit about that synergy?
Yeah, well, Ski Carr, who plays Lalo, he is also a character himself. Okay, like let's just get that straight.
I can
Like,
imagine.
he's a legend in his own right. He used to be like the main dancer on Soul Train back in the day. And yeah, like so before, like Hisonni said, we had time to kind of meet up with one another before production, and so we would go over our scenes, and he would just pretty much just be dropping gems. He was encouraging me to use my instincts, not to be afraid to use my instincts. And he's just giving me tips and just, encouraging me to be playful with things and just talking about life, like just talking about life. And so that just built a natural chemistry. By the time we got on set, and Teddy Garces was there, who plays Hector.
Yeah.
Like I'm in good hands. Like I'm in the company of veterans. You know what I'm saying? Like they're, the way they interact with each other. Like you have to come with it. Like you know what I'm saying? They're over here, so you gotta come over here.
Them, right?
Yeah, but they make it so easy because they just make it so easy though, in a way. Like it was just natural. They're here to play. So play with them, and I did. And that's why, there was a scene where in the restaurant where Teddy and Ski was sitting, and I'm giving them menus, going like, "What you doing here?" And that was really fun for me because they just gave me the environment as an actress to just play with them. But being this is my first feature film and just first time for a lot of things, I was nervous, because I wasn't, I'm in the company of really like talented artists. Like, of course I'll feel some type of way and a little shy, but they just encouraged me to use my instincts and to play.
And you held your own. Own. Your gangster came across just as much as theirs. And that was fun to watch, right? Because you're petite, but you have this strength about you, which I imagine that's also Hedy, right? Kind of transferring to Tara. So that came across very genuinely. Where was this film shot? Was it all in Cali?
No, a little bit of Riverside. I think like 90% of it is in Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. Okay, why the decision to shoot in Vegas? Just out of curiosity.
Well, that would be something Hisonni would answer for. When I met Hisonni, he was in LA, but as we were, reworking the script together, he moved to Vegas, and we didn't have too much, so we just decided Vegas would be just the easier place to shoot at, and Vegas can play for many areas,
Yeah.
So.
Right. And the visuals were gorgeous. They were beautiful. So shout out to you, Hisonni, for making that happen. Right? So this film has sparked some well-deserved buzz in the festival circuit. Congrats. What has it meant to you both and the rest of the cast to get that recognition and validation, Hisonni?
It's kind of profound for me because oh man, I'm going to open up because I love blackfilm.com. You guys have supported me and you deserve this real answer. For me, I felt like I was being put in a box. I've always grown up admiring everything. And the biggest oxymoron of being a black man is you're born feeling like you can do anything you want. But the world has these really restrictive boxes for what they think you are and what they say you can do. As a filmmaker, I've encountered that because I make whatever I want, but because I don't make films that just cover my suffering and pain as a black person, it's almost like my career hit a little bit of a stop. I would apply for workshops and labs and agents and hit up agents and managers, and nobody wanted to deal with me because I didn't have the sort of work people wanted black people to do, which is films about how bad we suffer, getting beat up by the police, just stuff like that. And there was a time where I wasn't sure my career could progress unless I just started almost like monetizing essentially the worst moments of my life. And Takeout Girl was a risk because I knew I was going to spend years making it, but I wasn't certain. I thought the best case scenario would be that the film would do well, but I wouldn't necessarily progress because I hadn't shown I could tell the Black experience as people want me to. And that just hasn't been the case. The film has been embraced by the Black community in just droves.
Right.
The American Black Film Festival, they honored me with Best Director, and
Huge.
Martha's Vineyard African American, we won that. And then the Asian American community started giving us awards and screening us at all the top Asian American film festivals. Same thing with Latino film festivals. Same thing with mainstream film festivals. And I gotta be honest, it feels good to finally have something I felt I was born capable of doing be allowed. Yeah. Because I feel like I can do anything as a director. I can tell anybody's story. I feel like me and Tara are the same. We both just want to do right by our moms. There's certain universal aspects about the Black experience where essentially I could put a Black man in any character in any film I make. I mean, as a matter of fact, that's going to happen. That's something that's just not possible, to avoid.
Yeah.
And I wish people could see it like that instead of essentially wanting me to make 12 Years a Slave again. Ooh. And I feel like this is a step in the direction of getting away from that. I mean, Black filmmakers can do anything just like anybody else.
Absolutely. And thank you for following your intuition and following your goal and your dream, because that matters. No matter what anybody else says, that matters. And then we get to see this. And then this is going to be distributed because I've already put it in the matrix. It's going down.
You know what, though? What's beautiful, and this is personal, having the Black community see it and embrace it and know it's theirs too.
Yeah.
I believe the reason why it resonates with the Black community is because they're like, that's us.
For sure.
That's us too. That's all of us. We know that story. And we embrace her because she feels like one of us because she's going through the same thing. I really believe that every film I make, I can make that happen.
Agreed. And I can't wait to watch them all. And so 1091 Pictures will release Takeout Girl on video and digital on May 18th, 2021. Can't wait. Where can people go to find out more about this film?
You can find out more about this film at Takeout Girl Feature Film on Facebook, on Instagram, and you can find me at Hisonni J on Instagram, and you can find Hedy at
Juliet Must Die. And I also want to shout out Greg Maurice at 1091. He's amazing. So shout out to you, Greg.
Thank you both so much for talking with blackfilm.com. I'm a huge fan of both of your works now, so I'm looking forward to what else is to come from both of you. Thank you.
I can't wait to come back.
You are always welcome. Both of you are always welcome. Blackfilm.com.
Oh, thank you, Ellen.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ellen.